Get started. Bonnie Johnny, everyone. This is Professor Rahh, Professor Emeritus, California State University, Long Beach, Africana Studies Department, former city councilman for the city of Compton, former Compton College Board of Trustees, and former Compton Unified School District Board of Trustees. And also, I served as a full-time teacher for Compton, Linwood Unified School Districts, and at the same time taught part-time in Pasadena City College, as well as was director of the Transfer Center at Compton College, as well as a counselor and a professor, and retired from Compton College. I just want to say we welcome each and every one of you to the Conscious Corner. We want to give praise and thanks to Brother Rashaki Maskani for hosting this platform to speak truth to the people, a roundtable discussion on critical issues that affect African people, speaking truth first to the people, then to power and to ourselves. We want to welcome the good doctor who has nothing but a pocket full of prescriptions, ideological, philosophical prescriptions to heal you. And the number one thing is there ain't no change. You understand? Ain't no change in the patient condition. You understand? So we want to welcome the good doctor, as well as Brother Mshinda deep in the South, where they say the South is booming everywhere but Mississippi, but he's in Louisiana, so we'll get to that a little later. Once also say our co-host, Brother Joe Henry, may join us later. He's still recuperating from a bout with some challenges, health challenges, and we welcome him when he come aboard. There's a lot of issues. Some of our people are stuck in a tornado watch in Florida, Sister Tears and Sister Linda. So I don't know if they'll be able to join us, but we're going to get into some very interesting discussions. But before we do that, is there any good news? Any good news? Rashaki, we're going to start with you. You have any good news? Good news or frontline news?
Good news. We're here and doing this. This is the good news. Reaching out. Well, we're providing a platform for people to come and teach their expertise and bring up topics that we can discuss. And it's a positive platform. Somebody wrote to us. Well, they responded to Dr. Karanga saying something about women abuse, and I told them it's nothing but positive vibes here. So this is what we focus on. I said, if anybody that's living that doesn't have any flaws, they can come on our platform and like you said about the good doctor, they can give us prescriptions on how to live a flawless life. So we do it positive here, and we don't focus on too many things that's not going to uplift us. So I think what we're doing here is good. That's a good thing. And another day. That's good.
Yeah. Iceberg Slim was a classic book that about pimping. People read it and thought, oh, it's a great book. The abuse of women. It's crazy. No, what about you, good doctor? Any good news besides the check is on time?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything bad going on. So I guess, as far as me, it's good news, man. I think everything's, to me, is good. I mean, only good news would be if everything was getting worse. So I think the more things get worse, things will get better eventually.
Yeah.
So everything's, we're rolling, man. Everything's rolling. You got me looking at how you look at it, man. There's always something good out there, man. So you can always find something good, to make life positive. So everything's rolling. But
yeah, like white man never talk about he came out the cave, hit the woman in the head with a stick and drug her in the cave and rape her. I mean, he don't talk about incest that they did and all from savagery, cave people, Magna Man, Java Man. He talks about his technology. He talks about what's good. Oh, America's the greatest country in the world, despite the assassinations, killing, revolutions, and civil wars, and World War I, World War II. We're the greatest nation in the world. Always talking and decorating them to go out and kill for him. He's a 5-star general. So I understand what you're saying, good doctor. What about you, Mshinda? You there,
All
Mshinda?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just reflecting back, we talked about it last week, there's all kind of things going on in the world, and we try to hit them up on a weekly basis. But, on a national front, just reflecting back on the sister, what's her name? Claudia Gray, who stepped down
Mm-hmm.
the president of Harvard. I looked at the hearing in its entirety. It was like, well, it was 5 hours, but of course they had an intermission or break, part of that, so it was every bit of 2.5, 3 hours, I guess you could say. And just, reflecting on that, the sister, not only was she intelligent, but she stuck to her guns and was steadfast and very articulate, and she represented not just Black people, but the spirit of truth on another level. And of course, we know the history of Harvard, or some of the history and things like that as it relates to certain things, and but I'm not even looking at that. I'm looking at on the surface, what she represented, because a lot of times we'll try to get philosophical and political on, where she works and what she represents. But, I'm a firm believer we're all in the belly of the beast, and we're there in a physical sense, not, mentally. I think, those of us who show up regularly on the podcast, we free spirits, we're gonna speak our truth, and then we're gonna go on about our daily lives, and as you say, Professor Rahh, the struggle continues, and that's what we deal with on a day-to-day. So I like to celebrate that, how we continue to represent and deal with the struggle on a day-to-day basis. The struggle continues, and that's a positive phrase. But again, with the lady who just stuck to her guns and didn't allow the European opposition tear her down. When you are under the questioning of the United States Congress, and you didn't let them take your power. You didn't give them any power. They're just people just like you are. They who I dare, who are they to try to talk to me any kind of way? That's how I conduct myself. I'm going to always be respectful. But when you come at me with a vengeance and vindictiveness and hate, expect something, and I think she handled herself with grace, and not just grace meaning how she didn't fall apart. She was graceful in her delivery, and it's just more than just the subject matter what they were talking about. They were talking about anti-Semitism and all that kind of stuff, but it's beyond all that. It's like, we've been under attack for a long time. I was looking at it, again, checking out the Cat Williams situation on YouTube. He was on Club Shay Shay, and he was actually calling out other comedians. And, some people may try to take sides and all this and that, but, it was next level delivery. I'm not saying I agree or say everything is true what he was talking about, but the truth speaks for itself. The truth will prevail. But my whole thing is, it's kind of like, I was looking at a person not so much defending themselves, but just letting them know that you can't conquer me. You know, you don't own me. You don't dictate what happens to me, you know, and that kind of thing. So I'm tying that in with Sister Gay, the former president of Harvard. You know, how people stand up and be who they are, and that's what I'm about. You know, it ain't like they're trying to be the big bad wolf or anything like that, but you're not going to talk to me any kind of way. And, I'm going to keep my dignity. And, so I just wanted to report that, wanted to just, shed some light on that.
All right. Well, and appreciate that, if I understand correctly. First of all, I want to say I agree with the good doctor. It's always good news that we still here intact, arms moving, head moving, like we can talk and breathe. That's always good news, and I appreciate Doctor bringing that up. Also, Rashaki, about this platform and being able to be here for 3 years and continuing to speak truth. That's good. Getting to your points, Brother Mshinda, you're correct. The sister was courageous in many ways to withstand the pressure that she was under. First Black woman to be named president of Harvard University, even though it was just a 6 months tenure. She had 90% of the faculty support, community support to stay and withstand the pressure. But the pressure got so overwhelming when they started nitpicking on her, talking about she made plagiarism, going after her family. And then I'm pretty sure they offered her a situation that she couldn't refuse. Generally, when they it's better to resign or retire than to get fired. Fired, they come up with trumped up charges of that you violated some rule or that you did something so that they don't have to pay you and you have to, go through changes. It's like being evicted out of an apartment. It's hard to get another apartment when you got an eviction. It's hard to get another job when you're fired. But if you resign, but I'm pretty sure generally the way that goes is when you're a president, administrator, you have to have what they call retreat rights. When you're hired as an administrator at a major university, especially public and major universities and universities that generally get government funds or things of this nature, and big major universities, you get what they call retreat rights. In other words, you come in as an administrator, and depending on how long you work, you can resign or retire and go back to a faculty position. But before you can get the administrative position, you have to be accepted in a faculty department. In other words, when they interview you, they look at your academic qualifications, and they say, okay, you can teach history. So they go to the history department, and they provide them with a position for you that's vacant. But they say, you have retreat rights, or you bump other people who they just hired, and you take that position. And then not only that, she had retreat rights, and that's why they said she's going to remain a faculty member. And then they probably give her a year or year and a half to retool herself, but still pay her at the president's salary. In other words, she goes and they say, okay, you're going to go back in the classroom. They're going to say, but you got to get ready to go in the classroom. So we're going to give you a year where you just, get yourself together, get your course outlines together, retune yourself from being an administrator to being a faculty member, learning what's in the curriculum, learning what's you're going to be teaching, and getting your books, ordering your books, and putting your tests together and course outlines together. And that takes maybe a year and a half for you to do that. So she'll be at the house. She probably got all that ready anyway. She paid people to do that, and they have what they call teacher's aide and teacher's assistant to do all that for her. Why she just kick it and get paid for maybe a year and a half at the same salary that they were paying her as president. That's generally how it happened. I'm not saying it happened to her, but that's generally how that happened. The other thing is that people are upset about it. Her being the first Black woman to be president, and what that means for a billionaire white man named Bill Eckerman, who was a big donor to Harvard, who put the pressure on Harvard. So Brother Al Sharpton and the Action Network is going to demonstrate and protest against Bill Ackerman for his role and racist role in putting pressure on the university because of his major donations to the school and his effect with other major donors that put pressure on the Board of Trustees to offer her a deal she couldn't refuse to get her out the way. So that this white senator who held the hearing could say, well, we got rid of two of the presidents, we got one more to go. And that type of situation. But one of the, even the guy, Bill Eckerman, his wife, who's a professor, was cited for plagiarism. Most faculty people that write books, there's always somebody saying that they plagiarized them. What they generally do is just let you correct the record. And that's what they did with his wife, Bill Eckerman's wife. You know, that you may have left out a footnote, you may have left out what they say according to a quotation or something like that. They even accused Martin Luther King of plagiarism. And that's a common thing to try to deride, but never do you force people out of the administrative position because of writings. But anyway, she did stand up, and some people referring to it as white mob rule that affected the decisions by Harvard University. But we give praise and thanks, as Mshinda said, for her standing up, not bagging down, and never said nothing about anti-Semitism, that Jews should be good. She said, if someone make a discriminatory statement, not just about Jews, about gays, anyone, it depends on the context in which they made it that determines if the school should get involved. That's all she said. And that's all of them said, that these white people, but they just need to get somebody, and distract from the killing. Now, none of them are saying, but Nahu or whoever that over there in Israel should be held. Well, they is South Africa. We got to give them credit for, and that's one of my frontline news we get to. South Africa's petitioned the United Nations to charge the Israeli government with genocide. And that's heavy. That's heavy because, no other nation has done it. And second, they are part of the United Nations, and Israel got to respond to it. Of course, they denied it, and the United States will probably veto any action. But at least it's a strong public and international statement that a sovereign country that's in Africa, South Africa, charges Israel with genocide on the Palestinian people and things of this nature. And then second, as I said, Al Sharpton Action Network is going to protest against Bill Ackerman and what he's doing. Some good news is this group called 40 Acres Conservation League, led by Black people, is buying 650 acres of conservation land near Lake Tahoe, just north of east of Sacramento, for Black people to start businesses in the area and to come and be a part of nature. As Joe Hembrick and most people be talking about how important nature is. It's a preserve, a walking trail, and they got about 3 lakes on the property, and it's just a beautiful thing for the first Black-owned and Black land conservation land trust in the history of this country, for Black people to be a part of it, because most Black people ain't into that. And we ain't into walking through the woods and things of this nature, but they saying they're going to try to create an atmosphere for Black participation, whereas they're not looked at or discriminated against when they do participate in that. That's a good thing from that standpoint. Second good news is Tyler Perry feels brokenhearted because he purchased this house for Josephine Wright in South Carolina, a 94-year-old Josephine Wright, who for who was forced out, was being forced out of her property by some real estate tycoons. And so Tyler Perry purchased the property, but before he can give her the deed, the sister passed. But he just wanted to say how courageous she was in trying to hold on to her property that was in the family since the Civil War. And I want to commend Brother Tyler Perry for his intentional good deed, because you very seldom see billionaires like himself get involved in those type of issues. But we want to thank him for the good deed, and that's a good deed in many ways. And also, Sister Oprah Lee, who was what they call the godmother of Juneteenth in South Carolina, is trying to get her property back. She's 97 years old, and she's trying to get her property back. The white in Fort Worth, Texas, the white folks ran them out from that standpoint of her property and burned it down. And so she's filing suits and doing the best she can to get her property back. And this is a beautiful thing, because struggle creates other people to struggle. What happened in Manhattan Beach, where the people got their land back, has inspired other Black people to go back in history and talk about all the land that was stolen from them and try to get it back. And that's a beautiful thing. So we have two 94-year-old Sister Josephine Wright that was trying to keep her property and get it back, and well as Oprah Lee, and I'm hoping other Black people participate in that. And so these are examples of the fortitude and the fact that it may take a long time. I mean, these people, it takes a long time to be victorious in a racist institutional program. It takes money, and you got to have the fortitude to fight a long and protracted struggle. And I want to commend Oprah Lee and Sister Josephine Wright, even, and may the good she brought in the world last forever, may none be lost. And see what Tyler Perry do with the property now that he's on it. And hopefully that he'll do something with her relatives with it. But we'll see how that goes. But those are the dynamics. The question I have today, there's a couple of them. First of all, I want to commend the Nation of Islam for participating in the Kwanzaa parade in Los Angeles. They were part of Sister Amina Muhammad, who was on our program at one time. They built a float by this brother named Bashir Muhammad, and they participated in the Kwanzaa. Why is that good enough? Because the nation generally don't do things like that. The Nation of Islam, they don't demonstrate, they don't march, unless it's about them. But to get involved in Kwanzaa, the Nation of Islam, that's monumentous, and it contributes to the change. The other thing coming from the Nation of Islam is Minister Farrakhan, and on a radio talk show, said that they termed it as he supports Trump by saying that Trump is breaking down and tearing down every institution that has victimized Black people: the Justice Department, the press, the economic disparities, and that he commend Trump for that. So they looked at that as an endorsement of Trump, even though the nation don't vote. But anyway, that's how they play it. What do you think about that, Mshinda?
Give me that question again.
Okay, the Nation of Islam. Minister Farrakhan was on a talk show, and he complimented Trump for attacking the Justice Department, attacking the FBI, and attacking the mass media, the major news networks, calling them fake news. I think I gave it to Rashaki. If he has it, maybe he'll play it. and so some people looked at that as the Nation of Islam endorsing Trump. And I just want to know what you think about it, if you heard about it.
I didn't hear about that, honestly. So I appreciate you, imparting that information. But, knowing Farrakhan, truth is truth. I mean, we know that Brother Trump has his own agenda, and a lot of times, um, you know, we can jump on sides and support this one and go against that one or whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, truth is just truth. So in other words, Trump, you know, Trump points out a lot of things. Trump points out a lot of truth. He points it out. He does. He does use his platform to point it out. But the unfortunate part, I think since he's egotistical and maniacal and has a he's narcissistic in his own way that this is. And again, I'm not Brother Dr. Charles Alexander. I don't hold any degrees in clinical psychology or anything like that. But so. But when you can separate things. I mean, Trump is just a person that's, he's got some issues and things like that. And I say, just to shed a little light on how I feel. You take Joe Biden and you take Trump, and I look at two European guys that that's who they are. I always said that Trump would walk in backwards and be reelected 1,000 times if he'd shut his mouth and be cool, but he can't do that. And I don't even know if Trump really has an agenda. I think he's just got a sick mind as far as he can't control himself. It's just based on evidence. But again, for the nation to acknowledge that, hey, I think that truth yields the truth. If the guy is pointing out, something that makes sense, talking about Minister Farrakhan, if he's saying that Trump is saying, what Trump is saying, Trump is a high profile person at this point in life. So, and but again, is Trump using this information to benefit us, everybody? The jury. I don't know if even the jury's still out. I don't subscribe to Trump per se, but he doesn't do my thinking for me. I'm a man just like he is. But
let's listen to it for a minute. Let's listen to it. You gonna play it, Rashaki?
Of this administration is good for us. Because of Trump's way, he is an anomaly. There's never been no president quite like Mr. Trump. There's something that he's doing. Trump is destroying every enemy that was an enemy of our rise. Who's the enemy of our rise? Is it the Department of Justice, where we get none? Is it Congress, where you make a law that favors us and then you turn around and destroy it? Is it the media that has destroyed every black leader that stood up for us? Martin Luther King suffered it. Malcolm suffered it. He's attacking the media, calls it fake news. We have been the victims of some fake news.
Yes.
He's beating up the FBI. Go at it, baby.
Yeah. So that was it, Mshinda. What do you think?
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly that's precisely where I'm coming from. I mean, he breaking it down, but is he using it for his own self gain and his own? But that's I won't say it's irrelevant, but it's I see what Farrakhan's talking about. Farrakhan is saying that, like this, he may be a nut, or y'all might think he's this and that. Not that I'm supporting him, but he's making some great points there. He's exposing, but is it for his own self gain and just for the destruction of humanity? The jury's still out on that, because like, where is he going with, why is he what is his motive? And that's the key. Is he in a struggle like you and I, Professor Rahh? You know, Brother Doctor Rashaki, is he in a struggle with us and he wants to expose? He's exposing, but he can also be deadly in terms of, like, you know, for his own selfish narcissistic reasons, or something that we're not privy to know about on a higher plane, who's behind the scenes and doing other things. But, so I concur with Farrakhan as it relates to the exposing of truth. It's just that, what is he going to do with that truth?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna come back to you in a minute. What about you, Doc?
I'm kind of like like Mshinda said. He's just talking about stuff we always knew. I don't see nothing special about it. I mean, it's just there, man. It's nothing special. You just said yourself, on the video, he's exposing. He's part of that circle. Like now, you got a video going out viral where you got someone that was on the inside, part of that culture, saying what was going on behind closed doors. He was part of that culture, just saying what's going on. To me, it's nothing special, man. It's nothing that it shouldn't shock you. Didn't shock Farrakhan. He's more shocked that he said it. I don't know why. You got this desperate guy, Trump. He's involved in a lot of stuff, and he's just speaking, man. It's nothing special, man. I just hope he gets. I hope he runs and wins. I hope he wins, man.
You hope Trump wins?
Oh yeah, man. I hope he wins, man.
Why?
I just want to see I just want to see the world come to an end, man. Because they said all this last time. Hey, they said all this last time, nothing happened. We were so scared when he was in the last four years, man. Nothing happened to us. Ain't nothing gonna happen, man. They selling this stuff, man. Got everybody scared. Oh man, we're going back into slavery. They gonna reinstitute. Come on, man. He's gonna go after few his enemies. It's gonna be a clown show, man. We're gonna be able to talk about something every day. The show, man. I'll be on the show every day when he gets reelected next year, man. Every weekend. We may have to go 3 or 4 days a week. Have something to talk about, man. I hope he wins. I'll tell you, man, I'm voting for him if he wins. Because I want to see this, man. I want to see what happens because, we all like, seeing those big earthquakes happening and the tornadoes, the devastation, man. You riding down the street, the car accident, like you said, you gotta look and see. We love hearing about others' misfortunes, man. And the bigger the misfortune, man, the better we love it, man. Oh man. I hope he wins and we go into World War III. We have a food shortage, no water, no power. I just hope it's just go, wow, man, and just I can't communicate with Rashaki. The internet is down, man. And neighborhoods being blocked off, and bombs are dropping, man. Oh man, I'd be so happy just to see the devastation, man. Just see who's gonna survive. I don't survive, man. Hey, we just see, man. I'm willing to bet. Let's see who survives. Because when the pandemic was here, man, those 2 years were the best years of my life. The neighborhood was quiet. I was able to go to the store, get stuff in peace. The people behind me wasn't having their parties every night, man. People wasn't blocking my driveway. I was able to walk the neighborhood in peace. No dogs, no cats, no bird. Oh man, it was lovely, man. It was the best 2 years of my life when the pandemic was here, man. I just can't wait to Trump get in and just destroy the world, man. It's gonna be the best time of my life, man. Just peaceful, sitting here popcorn, watching the world go down, man. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait.
You don't want to save the world. You want it to go down.
Yeah, I want to see it end, man. Let's see this, man, because I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
Okay.
So,
what about you, Rashaki? What's your position?
That's wild. It's all good. But it's when you have people like Trump, first of all, when he decided to run, I thought it was a joke. And then and then when he got elected, I was like, anybody could be the president. I mean, you just got to have a pulpit and people willing to listen to you and all of that. But as far as Farrakhan and what he said, I think Farrakhan was looking for the benefit of a bad situation. So he saw where, you know, if you I'm interpreting it correctly, he saw where all of these institutions that was terrible towards us, you know, it wasn't benefiting us. And then Trump is an enemy of that. So it's like him taking it down. So it's a thing similar to what Doc is saying. You know, let this implode, and then you know maybe we could start over and better. But it's a lot of drama. You know, it's a lot of drama. So I think Farrakhan made some good points, and he took a person like Trump and saw how it could benefit us as a black people. So it was it's Farrakhan.
I remember when Farrakhan was on Donahue, he said the same thing about Ronald Reagan when they were interviewing him. He was saying Ronald Reagan, you know, Ronald Reagan then was pushing bad policies on black people, and he said that's good, and you know, that make black people do for self. And so Donahue asked him, "Did you vote for him?" He said, "No, I didn't vote because nation don't vote." So they, you know, that point. Second, you know, it's a thing to go against the majority of black people, the law of opposites. It's just like the forbidden fruit. You know, people, when you say people don't do it, they do it. And the nation is, they have done a lot of good for black people, don't get me wrong. They've helped a lot of individuals rehab themselves and become very spiritual and use the Quran and the Nation of Islam teach them that they are black gods and goddesses, form the MGT, the Nation of Women Military and Security Structure. They built schools, Sister Clara Muhammad, Malcolm, the Nation of Islam University. And they were used to tell black people they're going to build hospitals, do this and do this, you know, give us your money and all that. But you know, they did do some good things. They had the FOI clean up various cities and patrols and help clean up projects in Chicago and certain parts of Watts and things of this nature and security. Many of them provided major security for celebrities and things of this nature. I remember I worked with the nation. We provided security for Larry Holmes and what's the British heavyweight champion from Europe? I forget his name. Anyway, I got pictures with him. I'll show him. But anyway, so
Lennox Lewis.
Lennox Lewis, yeah, we brought him out here into Compton, Big Captain Shaheed, and we provided security for Lennox Lewis and Larry Holmes. And when they came out here for their weigh-ins and publicity thing. And so, yeah, they done a lot. But at the same time, when it comes to politics, you know, them and Jesse fell out. At first, they endorsed Jesse and encouraged the nation to support Jesse. And then when Jesse made the Jaime remark, and then Farrakhan them, you know, got on the Jews for attacking Jesse. Then Jesse criticized the nation, and so they bagged off. But you know, they you know, that was the first year that they really registered to vote to support Jesse, and then Farrakhan and Jesse fell out, and you know, it's a very challenging situation when they get into politics. So their answer to everything is join the Nation of Islam. They don't build Black United Fronts. They don't join in with other groups. They work with other groups on peripheral things, but from the standpoint of the answer to Black problems is that you're a Muslim, but you don't know it. And the only way you can really help Black people is join the Nation of Islam, because we're pushing a do for self, and we're teaching you that the white man at that time was the devil. But even though they accepted money from, E. Herbert, so is that Scientology? And also from Moon, So, and then they accepted they tried to get the money from Gaddafi. I don't think the government let them. But anyway, Farrakhan, I know Farrakhan first name basis. Don't get me wrong. I used to speak before him. I've been on many platforms in which we was on the same stage together and spoke at the Shrine Hall in Northridge, and I got videos of that. And then when they put them trumped up charges on me, he defended me very strongly, invited me to DC to help start to come up with a plan for the second Million Man March, and as well as put me on front page in the on the Nation on the Final Call up to about 3 or 4 times, So I appreciate him for that support. But at the same time, we brought Farrakhan to Long Beach State 3 or 4 times. We brought him to help get him to Northridge and help him rebuild the nation after Morris D. Muhammad had set him down, suspended him, told him he couldn't teach no more. And that's when after Elijah Muhammad died, and they changed their names back to Muslims' names instead of X. Warfdi Muhammad said that you no more X, get a Arabic name, and so many of them did that. And then he said no more. He got rid of the FOI, the Fruit of Islam, and he said his daddy was not the last prophet from Muhammad and all of that. So there was a little war going on of words. And they had a few scrimmages with what they call Al-Islam and the Nation of Islam. Then the 5%ers out of New York joined. They got fractions of Muslims all over the country that's led by different people. But anyway, getting back to this situation of what he's saying, it's challenging to get in an arena that you don't support. You're not part of, and don't listen to the Black people that are part of it. But, and it's challenging from the standpoint of that. Farrakhan carries a lot of weight with Black community, even the non-Muslim Nation of Islam people. I mean, he's very popular. He raised a lot of money when he comes to town. People comes and, by the thousands to hear him. They filled up the arena with a couple of times, Sports Arena and a few other places. They really do a good job of that. And in Atlanta, they filled up a couple of arenas and things of this nature. And in the Million Man March, they passed the bucket. I mean, they be on it. They're very organized. It costs them a lot of money to put on these programs, but they make a lot of money. But anyway, getting back to this political thing, I think it's a paradox for Black people, because it's about voting for conditions, not voting for personalities. I agree that with the doctor that Biden and Mshinda, that Biden and Trump are problematic. Biden participating in genocide of the Palestinians. Biden would not support getting rid of filibuster so that they could pass the George Floyd justice thing when they have the majority of the Senate. And they wouldn't vote. Well, he couldn't get it done because that guy from Virginia, but even when they do get it, he was against it because he think that the minority should be able to filibuster laws that they don't like. And so he wouldn't support that, but they needed to do it to pass the George Floyd right, the John Lewis voters' right bills, and so they never got done. Second, but then Biden appointed Black Supreme Court justice, and he's appointed. He's responsible for Hakeem Jeffries being the minority representative in Congress as the majority House leader for the minority Democratic Party, and a Black head of the Democratic Party. He's went to the Black church where there was massive murders and things of this nature. So, but when you come to Trump, you're talking about a person that is unpredictable, as the doctor said. I mean, he'll tear up everything. I mean, and most people don't want the country tore up. They just wanted to follow his creed and follow his advocacy of justice for all, and no person is above the law. When you say you saying that you are against well, you for him putting Latino kids in cages and separating Black families. I mean, Latino families from their kids, and and thousands of them, they can't even find their mothers and fathers anymore. You're talking about a person that said that in North Carolina, when they were saying racist remarks about Jews and Blacks, that was okay. There was good people on both sides. He's saying that a person that that tried to overthrow the government to stay in power, and that if he got in power, he probably would never leave. So you're talking about dictatorship and democracy as you know it. What if we couldn't criticize? As the doctor said, there'd be no internet. There'd be no freedom of speech if Trump decides that you're saying something up against me. You having a program criticizing me, we shut you down, put you in jail. So Biden is bad in many ways, but he's not that far gone. And so you vote for conditions. Which one of them we can continue our struggle to make the world a better place and to make our struggle to get justice, economic equity for Black people, and reparations, as well as getting brothers out of prison that they've been locked up on trumped up charges, won't pay them once they do 25 years, even though on the law in Michigan and in Illinois is that you're supposed to pay them $50,000 for each year. And they renege on it, and they know that these people qualify for it. You locked them up 27 years. DNA proved that they didn't do it. You got to look at more than just an aspiration of Trump and an aspiration of Farrakhan, saying, "Oh yeah, he's getting rid of all the institutions that he's attacking them," but he's talking about keeping them intact, but using them for his gain, his economic gain, his political power gain, the world domination. I like the good doctor say, but let's see how this plays out. I mean, if you're gonna get rid of NATO, see, right now you walk down the street, you feel free. You ain't worried about nobody attacking you, you ain't worried about your civil rights being violated to a certain degree. It's there's some Black people get shot by the police brutality. But for the most part, like the doc said, my check coming. But what if Trump got in and your check don't come? They get rid of Social Security, they get rid of retirement, whatever, and renege on that. Then you get angry. See, you don't know what this guy would do, for major corporations and major businesses, and inviting the biggest ethnic group in America is Germans. Trump is a German. When in the war against the Jews in Nazi Germany, that was Germans fighting Germans. Those were Jews that believed in Judaism. They were Germans, though. Those that's over there in Palestine, those are German Jews, and they practice that same thing. Trump is trying to bring that same Nazi mentality to the White House. I'm immune from all laws. You can't do nothing to me. If I shoot somebody, you can't do nothing for me. even if I'm out of office, because the presidency extends past that. Maybe you got to take a position, a moral and ethical position on that. What if you shoot your mama? What if you shoot your uncle and kids? Or what if you lock them up and won't free them, even though they weren't, without a trial, without a court, just say, hold them until I tell them to go. Yeah, I don't think you'd be so happy about that. And that's the mentality that Trump is exhibiting. Any response to that, Mshinda?
No, no major response, man. I'm just listening. You know, I remember back in 1979, I was walking on campus and I saw this brother on the payphone. It was Stokely Carmichael.
Yeah.
And he said, "You ready for the revolution?" I said, "Hell yeah." I'll never forget that. He was at San Diego State. And man, and he said, "Yeah, brother, you ready for the revolution?" My boys I was with didn't even know who he was. I knew who he was. And I said all that to say that truth is truth and struggle is struggle. And I don't care what the hell Biden do or Trump do, whatever. If they with the devil, if they anti-black or whatever, I'm gonna continue to fight it. I'm not gonna pick and choose on side. I'm going down with truth. And so not the lesser of the two evils, and that's it, so I'm done.
Well, that's a good position to have. There's nothing wrong with that position, but at the same time, see, it's like people, talking about youth and they're against the death penalty until they shoot some of your family, then you want it. And I'll kill this fool. He killed my sister. He killed my mom. Lock him up forever. You understand? It's different when you're the victim. When you don't feel victimized, you have a different outlook on things.
They have.
And so sometimes you have to have some empathy for those that are victims of abuse and misuse and exploitation and abusement and things. What about you, good doc?
Yeah, you said something earlier. It's like one of my buddies. I talked to one of my buddies about the same thing. He said, "Man, what if your check stopped coming in?" We always talk about, you talking all this. What if they stop your retirement check? But you gotta understand, right? They're gonna stop yours too. They're gonna stop Rashaki's. They're gonna stop Mshinda's. They're gonna stop LeBron James. They're gonna stop Tyler Perry's, Cat Williams, Shannon Sharp's. Everybody's check gonna stop, man. I'm not the only one now.
Yeah.
And I'm still willing to go for it. Stop everybody's check. Let's see what happens. Let's see who's gonna hurt. Who's gonna hurt the most? I'm willing to see. I'm willing to risk my check to see if everybody else get their check lost too. As long as everybody else check stops, let's go for it.
Okay.
But because I'm not afraid, man. I can't get me afraid of what this man's going to do, man. He do it. Hey, what's going to happen has already happened.
Mm-hmm.
When you start understanding, time, space, what's going to happen has already happened. We just got a time clock on it, man.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't bother me. Hey, Rahh, you've been in the politics, doesn't bother me, man. Whatever happens is going to happen. We're going to survive, Rahh. And I got that from you, Rahh. No matter what happens, Rahh, we're going to survive, man. We're going to survive. We're going to make it. We're going to make it better than most everyone else, man. Let me ask you this question. Now, and I saw this stuff today, and I can't remember. They're saying some bank or some power entity said, I think it came out today or yesterday, said Biden's not going to be running. It just came out. I can't remember the group that said it. I don't know if it was J.P. Morgan or one of the other big national powerful banks that he's not running. Then I saw this other stuff with what's the dude here? Newsom and Michelle running. after you get your other part, come back on that. Give me your opinion on that. The major, I'm trying to look it up. If some of my major companies said Biden's not going to run, they're for sure that something's about to happen in a few weeks. He's going to be pulling out. So I wonder how your opinion on that. How what you think of that after you finish your other stuff you were saying.
Well, I don't think that's correct. I think that's just one of those conspiracy concepts that people think because Gavin debated Santos, that guy from Florida, on national TV. And, unless there's some health scare that there ain't nobody know about, and these people got that information. But people with power want to stay in power. And like Biden said, if Trump wasn't running, he wouldn't run. But you never know. He's 80 years old, be 80 years old. And there may be a possibility, but I don't see it. I see he's out campaigning right now for a man that ain't going to run. Why would he be campaigning? Why would he be raising money for the campaign? So I don't believe that. That's one thing. Second, it's a challenging, what the people on that level deal with international issues, global issues. You got hundreds of places where American troops are. You got 25,000 troops in Africa. You got another 35,000 in Japan. I mean, and what is that? Not Korea, but you got in Korea, North Korea. You defending them against South Korea. You got it's just American troops everywhere. They spend 2/3 of their budget on the military, and there's no account. They don't tell you where they're spending the money. They got Israel is just a military fortress for them in the Middle East. So it's something that we have to hold Black people accountable, Doc. Don't get me wrong. You got Black organizations like Action Network, NAACP, the National Branch, the Urban League, Core. They never tell you where they get their money from. You don't see them having fundraisers in the Black community. So where are they getting their money from? Big white corporations. You understand? All of them, Sharpton is not just making money on TV. He pays himself for being the president of Action Network. Jesse Jackson was paying himself for being president of Push. I mean, at that time, back in '95, he was making $200,000 a year. And he's real sick right now, Jesse Jackson. He got Alzheimer's a little bit, and that's why you don't see him no more. I mean, what's that shaking disease? Where you shake? I forget the name of it, but so he's going through it. Man, it's just a situation of how do we hold our own groups accountable?
Palsy.
Yeah, and then same thing with Maxine. She go buy a $5 million mansion in the Wilshire district. Where they, point her husband over the banks and point him over her family. I mean, it's just there's lack of exposure. So there's issues on all issues, but we have to deal with the conditions to make it better if we can. But then again, corruption is corruption. That's just it. And it don't matter who's doing it. Look at Curran Price, who's over in Los Angeles. He was vice chair of the city council, and now he's indicted. Mark Ridley Thomas indicted. I ain't talking about on Trump, on some jive stuff. They got, don't get me wrong. They was just doing what white folks did, but they got charged for it. So it makes you like Doc say, let's just tear it all up. That's what some people feel, but I'm from Coweta, so I say let's just make it better, you know, and fight for justice and fight for those things. That's what my position is. But I understand Doc's perspectives because there's a lot of people feel that way, you know, just to make it, to destroy the whole thing and just start from scratch again. But is China going to let you start from scratch? What if Chinese invade you when your military break down and take over the streets? You know, what if Russia take over the streets? You know, you gotta look at it not just from your personal perspective, but from the world. What your kids gonna do? Look how climate change for corporate greed is affecting you. You know, it's not directly, but it is with all these different storms and floods and oh man, look, you know, it's a challenge, Doc. You know, because you know the dinosaurs were here once and they became extinct because of climate change, and so you got to look at things not just right now, but for the future. That's all. What about you, Rashaki? What's your position?
And a lot been said, bro. If I'm looking at all of this, uh, my position is I'm an optimist for one, and I'm looking at my individuality, and then I'm looking at how I could do things to make myself better, and then spread that because all of these things that's going on with these, you know, like you said, all of these military bases all over the earth. It's a power thing, and they want to stay in power, so they're going to do whatever it takes for them to do that. So how I oppose that is changing my ways. And then if somebody could look at my life as an example, and I'm planning on being better as I move on. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I know that when you analyze your upbringing and the things you went through, the trauma you've been through as a child, and bringing it forward to now, and all the things that I was participating in with what you call sexual consumption, you liquor, whatever, all these things that I was involved in. Uh,
It's
I'm
eating
I,
bad. Yeah.
yeah, just I'm changing all of that, and I've been changing. You know, I stopped some things in 2014. Coming forward, I stopped some other things this summer. I'm just seeing. I'm like a project. I'm seeing if this project can become something that's meaningful and inspiring. So I'm looking at that. I'm learning. I'm here, almost 60 years old. I'm online learning back like I was in Black Studies class. I'm meeting individuals. So I'm looking at a transformation for myself and then sharing that transformation. And hopefully by this time next year, you'll see an even better person. And that, you know, and there's so many things I want to do at this stage of my life.
Mhm.
And so, you know, I don't I don't agree with a lot that's going on with these to me these people that are heathens. So I I I, I can't get with a Trump or a Biden when it comes to politics. I have to go with a Green Party candidate or a Libertarian Party candidate that I think that has the same type of visions that I have. And I understand what you're saying, Professor Rod. You gotta vote for your interests and do what's best for the interest because you already know it's either going to be a Republican or or a Democrat. that's going to be the person that had the strongest chance of winning the election. So it's just a 50-50 chance. So I oppose both parties. And, one day, hopefully we see something different in our lifetime.
Well,
I know
yeah.
if we keep doing what we're doing, it can spread.
Mm.
I think it really can spread if enough people, start doing things that's opposing the status quo. So we'll see. And if we in the spirit world, I don't know about until I get there. Hopefully, I'll be able to look back and say, "Oh yeah, it's changed." We'll see.
Yeah, well, see, you making a good point. You got to remember that the reason why folks have all these weapons because they're a minority in the world. In order to rule the majority, you got to have weapons and technology and automation, drones and all that, and military that will kill under the auspices of, it's an order. The other thing is that, it's a very challenging thing to like yourself, to like what you're about. You understand? To appreciate being a father, appreciate being a strong Black man, that know who he is, where he is, and not living a fantasy or just living a carefree life of, I'm just going to get high, I'm just going to drink, I'm just going to party, I'm just going to chase women, or men, I'm not going to get into politics, I'm not going to think about what's going on in the world or nothing, but when you see yourself, that your world is you, and how you see the environment and the universe, how you relate to things, that's your world. Everybody got a world. And you governance of your world, the things around you. You create life through a mate. You bring them forth and you train them and you do things. So it depends. I mean, it's hard to see life through other people. I don't, you look at people that is on heroin, or people that's on fentanyl, or people that's out stealing and breaking in. Say, well, how do you go in a mob and break in a store and steal all the people's shit? But when we were young, we didn't think that that was a problem if we could get away with it. But as we get older, we get more sensitive and we get more of a worldview. Health is very important to us now. When we was young, it wasn't like you were saying, Rashaki. Morals and ethics and values. If we get away with it, I don't give a shit. You understand? I had 3 kids in 1 month by 3 different women. You understand? That's how reckless I was personally. You understand? But I held it together because I realized that I had to take care of them babies. So all of them are close and all of them hang out and all of them work together. But what if I was a person that tried to do it clandestinely? And then all of a sudden they find out that they have a brother and sister on the outside. But I raised them together. And so they see each other as brothers and sisters, not half as brothers and sisters. But some people just say, hey, they don't know how to handle those type of situations, how to correct your mistakes by not making more mistakes. Because if I had 3, I could have went out and had 6 or 7 or 8, just Mr. Friendly Weenie, going around giving the weenie to everybody. You understand? You want some hot dog here and care what happened. But you become more responsible. You get them all through college. You say, hey, look, hey, I don't want you to be like me. I learned from my mistakes. As far as trying to treat people, like you say, treat people better. It's just a good session, man. I didn't mean to get into my life, but anyway, it was just wow, man.
All right, Mr. Friendly Weenie.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, okay, what's happening Wednesday, Rashaki? What's happening Wednesday?
You didn't broke out on Richard Pryor. Okay,
We're gonna talk about next week. We're gonna Mshinda, we're gonna get into Cat Williams discussion.
All right.
All right, next week. Go
okay,
ahead.
we got Dr. Sherry Randolph, Black Cinema, The Color Purple. That's the topic. And I
Okay.
think she's gonna actually interview somebody. So that's what's going on tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I saw the first one. It was rough. You didn't even get a man a name, just called him man. But anyway.
Yes, that movie is kind of wild and dry to me, but we'll see if I check out the next one. I mean, I'm eventually see it. I don't know when.
Yeah, me either. Doc, thank you, brother. And I understand your position. And it's a valid one because there's a lot of people share it. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a JP Morgan analyst is confirmed that Biden will not be on running. It's going to come out. That's the JP Morgan analyst, or whatever he is, somebody high up in JP Morgan, and these bank guys know what's going on, man. And so we'll see what happens, man.
We'll see.
4 weeks. If it's true, you gotta make a show about it, Rashaki.
Well, okay. Well, yeah. If he's not,
I hate it when I'm right, man. But I hope I'm not right. I hate it when I'm right, man.
Well,
you hate when you're right, Doc?
I hate it when I'm right, man.
Because it's gloomy, huh?
Yeah.
The outcast, the forecast is not good. All right. Well, each one teach one in Conscious Corner.
All right.
Our pause.
I got to do in the morning, man. I got to go get that.